Hello everyone, Mariko, residential realtor with the Bridgewell Real Estate Group, and welcome back to the Bridgewell Group YouTube channel where I talk about all things real estate. And in today's video, I'm going to be going through how to prep your home for sale. So all of the key things that you should be doing prior to actually listing your property. This is obviously going to be relevant to a lot of different areas, whether that be Canada, the US, wherever. But my market specifically is the Greater Vancouver and Fraser Valley area. So if you are looking for a realtor to represent you, whether it be listing or buying or doing both, definitely feel free to reach out to myself and my team. But without further ado, let's just get into it. So getting into some of the key components for how to prep your home for sale, I've listed them out on this board and I'm going to go through all of them. And this isn't necessarily in any particular order in terms of timing, but it's definitely in a timing that makes sense for me and our clients. So the first one here is going to be get a market evaluation. And when I'm talking about a market evaluation for this purpose, I'm talking about having a realtor through, or maybe a couple realtors through, to do this market analysis. And that is going to be taking into consideration the condition of your home, the layout of your home, the key components of your home, pricing strategy, what your competition is in terms of active properties on the market, what the sold properties are in terms of recent comparables, so you can come up with a reasonable range for this market value of your home. Now keep in mind that market value is always going to be best when it's current. So you're going to want to potentially get an updated market value later on in this process if there's a big gap between when you're first talking to someone versus when you're actually listing your property. The other thing to consider is exactly when you choose and finalize who your realtor is going to be. So you'll see here that I have a separation between the two. But when you're talking to people in the beginning, you very well may end up deciding definitively who your realtor is going to be at an earlier point in time. The other thing that you should think of when you're considering who your realtor is and exactly when you choose your realtor is that when you get this initial market evaluation, what the realtors recommend in terms of fixing up, condition, whether you get the roof done, whether you do the floors, like all of those things could potentially impact your market value as well. So you just want to understand like scenario A, maybe like renovating, scenario B, maybe just doing minor fix-ups, or scenario C, as is, and how your market value can change based on those differences. Next is going to be decluttering and depersonalizing, and that's pretty straightforward. You want to make sure that your space is clean and tidy and the flow isn't impacted at all when realtors are going to be taking buyers through and walking through space by space. You also want to make sure that each area is made for what it is being used for. So for example, your dining room, you want to make sure it's a dining room, it's not a storage space. So ideally try and keep that in mind as you are decluttering. And then obviously for closet spaces, like there's some spaces that are okay to be used as storage. A closet is often used for storage, but you just want to make sure it's not like falling out and impacting people if they are opening up to take a look at how much lovely storage you can fit in that closet space. Now, when it comes to depersonalizing, this one is really important. You want to make sure that the buyers are able to see themselves in that property. So you might want to take down photos and things like that. And for the photos specifically, it's not just about the buyers necessarily and wanting them to see themselves in the property. It's also a matter of wanting to take away extra ammo from them being able to read into who you are, why you're moving, all of those things. Like, oh, they have young kids, maybe they're looking to upsize. Like any takeaway of like what your motivation for selling is essentially going to be beneficial for you. When I'm talking about depersonalizing as well, you also want to make sure that your space is like a relatively neutral space. So nothing like too strong in terms of like your personality or your styling taste. Like take a look at like home magazines and things like that and just see like what the trend is for general neutrality. And again, just always come back to making your space feel clean and tidy. Next one is brighten up your home. This one is pretty easy. Everybody loves natural light. So while it might be nice to, do things like painting and make it white and like neutral, like I was talking about, that might not always be realistic. You can brighten up your home in other ways, whether that be, you know, making sure that all the lights are turned on and that you have light bulbs in all of your lights and that all the light bulbs are the same color and that they're a brighter light, that they're not like a dark yellow or something like that. That's a really simple way to brighten up your home. Another thing you want to keep in mind is opening up blinds and things like that. Do all the blinds work? Do they hold up, right? So just make sure that you really have that ambiance and natural light easily accessible throughout your home and all the lighting in your home properly functioning. So next is considering that list of fix-ups that you probably have. You know, if it's small repairs, things like that, obviously the condition of your property is going to impact the value of your property. And the more that you take care of those little things, like maybe the leaking faucet or, you know, the leaking pipe or the baseboard that wasn't working, like all of those things add up. And you don't want a buyer to get to the point where they're at their inspection and they feel like nothing has been taken care of and you don't take care of your home and now I want money off the price. Like that's just not a good situation for anybody. And so you can definitely avoid that by just keeping in mind those little things that you could do and start to do, just making sure that that's all handled definitely before the inspection, but ideally before the time that you list the property. So you can hire a handyman, definitely ask a realtor if they have a handyman that they would recommend. But outside of those like little things, right, maybe you have questions about more of the major components of the home and whether it's worth investing in that. So think like a roof, windows, hot water tank, furnace, maybe you have poly-B piping, right? All of those things are conversations that you should likely be having with a realtor when you get that market evaluation to see if you will be yielding a good return on investment from doing those major investments. So at this point in time, you are probably going to be at the point where you're basically ready to list your house for the most part. So this is definitely when you want to be choosing and finalizing your realtor if you haven't done so already. At this point in time as well, you might also want to get that updated market evaluation, specifically if there's been a decent amount of time in between when you are getting your home ready to list again versus when you last did the market evaluation with all the fix-ups and whatnot in between. So when you are choosing your realtor, obviously you want to make sure that it's someone that you trust, that you have good communication with. You want to make sure that you understand their systems and their processes and what the timeline is going to be, how things are going to go, definitely how they're going to be marketing the property, and then obviously their experience with your type of home and then also your location, right? So these are all things that you'll definitely want to be considering when you are choosing a realtor. But this is definitely the stage where you do want to have that finalized. So at this point in time, we're definitely going to be ready to start listing the property. And so before you get the marketing photos, the floor plan, the video tour, and all of those things, you'll definitely want to make sure that the home is staged and ready for those photos. So when you are talking to your realtor, you definitely want to understand like what your obligations are in terms of staging and just what the overall plan is. So for example, can we use your furniture? Is everything staged like as it is and you're just one of those people that like lives out of Architectural Digest? And that's great, right? But not everyone's like that. So can we make little tweaks to your furniture, going back to like the dining room is going to be used as the dining room, the living room is going to be used as the living room, like just keeping that in mind at the base idea for staging. Level 2 to that might be fluff staging. So for example, can you go out to get throw pillows, throw blankets, centerpieces, like just those little things that like just add that pizzazz to your home? Or is that something that your realtor potentially includes in their like listing service package, right? And then the final level of this would be like professional staging. And so that can definitely be costly, but there is studies to show that there is a good ROI for that. So just understanding what's included and what's not included and deciding whether or not that's something you potentially want to embark on if it's not included in your realtor fees. And another alternative to traditional staging is also virtual staging, which is something that we do for entirely vacant homes. So there's a lot of different levels to the staging that you want to consider, but essentially you just want to make sure that your home is ready to go for photos and looks great. So last but not least is the marketing preparation and the photo day. And so this is with regards to what needs to be done marketing wise to get your home on the MLS. And so definitely when you are listing your property, one of the first things that people are going to see and one of the most important things is going to be photos. And so this is really where everything ties in, specifically this staging and preparation and the brightening up your home. That's really what's going to make these photos absolutely shine. So you're going to want to be asking your realtor what the marketing marketing plan is. Is the photographer going to be coming in and there's going to be professional photos? Are they going to be taking the photos themselves? Is there maybe a tenant in the property that doesn't want photos to be taken inside and we just need to focus more on the outside? Like, how is that going to work? And then previously, when you're choosing a realtor, you also want to understand, like, is it just photos? Are they also doing a professional floor plan? Are they doing a video tour? Are they doing a Matterport? Like, there's a lot of different packages and options and things that can be offered by realtors. And so it's good not to just assume that everyone does the same thing. You'll definitely want to clarify what their marketing plan is, what's involved in this marketing prep, and any obligations that you have to help get this day ready to go. So once you've got through all of this, you're pretty much at the point where you are ready to be listing the property, which is very exciting. And then a whole new marketing system and a whole new set of processes in terms of showings, accepted offers, all of those things is gonna start, but that's a completely separate video. But for the purpose of this video, these are definitely the key things that you guys are going to be wanting to consider when you are getting your home ready to sell. So I hope this video was helpful on how to get your home ready for sale. As you've probably got from the rest of the video, there's a lot of different factors and a lot of different ways that a realtor can help you throughout this process. So if you are looking for a realtor in the Greater Vancouver or Fraser Valley areas, which is my market, then definitely feel free to reach out to myself or my team for tips on how to get your home ready for sale, for a market evaluation, for interviewing realtors. We're definitely more than happy to have a conversation, whether that be about listing or buying. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.